Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Fantastic to be on this call with you. Look forward to getting to know you a little bit. Did you get a chance to watch my short little video?
Yes, I did.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Purpose of this call is for us to find out how we can help each other with this business. So let's start out by you tell me your journey, how you got into real estate, what I can do to help you.
Sure. It kind of goes back a ways, and it's got a big gap in the middle.
Hmm.
So I retired from the Navy back in 1999, and when I first got stationed in Hawaii, um, but before that, I have an uncle that lived in California,
Okay.
close to where I was stationed at, and he got into real estate. He started buying apartment complexes, and he told me when I was young, he says, Mike, you need to get into real estate, and didn't really do too much with that. And then when I was in Hawaii, one of the guys I used to fly with on my crew, he and I always talked about it a little bit, and we ended up actually buying a property. Um, did sort of, I guess you can, a Burr method back before there was a Burr method, right?
Right, right.
Bought
Yeah.
this place, fix it up, did a lot of improvements to it, and you know, I, life sort of got in the way, at least from my perspective. I met my wife, got married, and that sort of stuff, and basically I just sold out my part of it, and I made pretty good money, made about like $25,000.
Okay.
In 1987, that was
That
a
was good.
considerable amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, I got married, started a family, that sort of stuff, and just never really got back into it. And then, so that was my first sort of into, real estate. And then, um, the home that we currently live in, we kept our other house, when we bought this place, but then obviously the crash, that happened, and then so
Mm.
we sold that place. So because I had that for a rental for a little over a year,
Okay.
so tenants weren't too bad, but they didn't stay, and you know, um, I didn't have a great job. By that time, I had already retired from the military. And military pension's not what everybody makes it out to be, you
Right.
know.
Okay. Well, thanks for serving anyway. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh, this is my pleasure. I really enjoyed my time in the service, but
Mhm.
so that was a sort of second piece of it. And then it was about 2015. I wanted to kind of get back into it, but I knew I still didn't have a lot of money.
Mm.
And so what I started doing some research, and then back then I think we were really starting to do things online, So about 2017, I guess it was, I started a small online store, an Amazon store,
Okay.
right, or Shopify store,
Yeah.
and started doing that. Learned a little bit about marketing and things like that, and then just before the pandemic, I was getting to the point where I was actually in the black. I was making about $1,000 a month,
Okay. That's
so
not.
that's not too bad.
Yeah. Right.
Um, but then the pandemic, and my plan at that point was to take my money from that and use that to get into real estate using my
Mm.
own money, obviously. Never
Right.
really heard about creative finance or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah.
And but then obviously the pandemic happened,
Mm.
right? And I was trying to keep that store going, and I just started throwing a lot of way too much marketing dollars after it, because it was just, people weren't buying really anything, and trying to get products, because most everything was, manufactured overseas and that sort of
Mm.
stuff. And I just had to basically shut it down because I was losing money, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Marketing it. Uh, if there's one lesson I learned, is marketing is very expensive,
Mm. Right.
you know.
Yeah.
So that fast forward a couple of years, and um, oh, let me back up. Actually, during that time, I did take some money. I met a guy online, through a real estate. Well, you've heard of Cody Sperber, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I joined his sort of community,
Mm,
and I met a guy there, and we got into a multifamily deal. It
mm.
was like a 296 unit
Okay.
property,
All right.
and but we were just like collectively, we it was an LLC that we all put in like 15,000 to get
Right.
into the deal, right?
Okay.
Um, and then so there's five of us total, um, and we were making a little bit of cash flow from that. But then again, with the pandemic, three of the guys actually lost their jobs because, um, yeah, and so they became strapped for cash and they needed to pull their money out. And obviously, there was a penalty for having to withdraw early and that sort of
Mhm.
stuff. I basically broke even on that, but
Okay.
you know,
Gave you
um,
good experience though in that in syndication, I guess. Yeah.
yeah. So a little bit of a burr and a
Yeah.
a rental and a syndication.
Yeah.
Um, and then I obviously fast forward a couple more years, now I'm just kind of, I see, I don't have in the military, you don't have a 401k with the financial markets, what I did put in, especially into the Shopify store, you
Mm,
know, um, I threw a lot of money in that. So I don't have a lot of money as far as like, to retire on.
right.
And that's why I want to get into this. My wife's saying, you got the knowledge, but she's always like, you know, um, retire and then you can do this. And I'm like, I can't do that because I'm 64 years old now, and I
Right,
got to get
right.
something started now
Yeah.
so that when I decide to, I work for Dell Technologies. I'm a,
Okay.
solutions architect. So I
All
do a
right.
lot of
Okay.
infrastructure projects. That's what I got to get into
Nice.
after,
Yeah.
um,
Well,
after
we're
my
in the
military
same boat
career.
when it comes to age because I'm 63, so
Oh, okay.
we got probably a similar mindset when it comes to the money, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, our time left and everything. And so
Yeah.
that's a pretty amazing journey. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found myself, you watched the video, so thank you for watching that. I found myself in the classroom just last month, in fact, and it was on large multi-families. And,
Mm-hmm.
from my background, I started in at the deep end with the small multi-families, and I made a lot of mistakes. In fact, that's why I wrote this book, Cautionary Tales from Real Estate Investments. And
Mm-hmm.
it really answered a lot of questions. I kind of knew the answers, but it highlighted them, brought them into sharp focus, and it made a whole lot of sense. The good news was that with large multifamilies, like any other strategy with real estate, is you don't need any of your own money. All right,
Yep.
you find the people who do have the money, and that's part of the goal, the syndication, which you've had a little bit of experience with. So it all made sense, and I found that that's where my heart's at. So that's my main focus now is the large multifamilies. So
Okay.
it makes sense from creating wealth, substantial wealth, in a relatively short period of time. These projects last anywhere from 3 to 5 years. We get them stabilized, and do quarterly distributions and a share in the equity. So, and you can either uh, play on the team as a GP, as a general partner, or a limited partner. You can do what you've already done, gather a few together, do the gator thing, and invest in that way. Apartments anywhere from $10 million all the way up to 100 million. So
Yeah.
our main job is capital raise. So we do the 506B and C, and depending on the project and the size of the project. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so what I've done to achieve these goals is I've created a YouTube channel. I'm building up a community there. And there's a small educational thread on large multifamilies, which I'd encourage you to take a look and see what you think. And also, I do put these videos on my channel so people can get to know each other, can look each other up and find out. These interviews go on that channel. So,
Okay.
with your permission, of course, and it can helps you brand and help you in your business. So. That's where I'm at right now. I do plan on writing another book. This is only 26 pages, so I want a more substantial book that'll be of help to people who are interested in this space. Uh,
Hmm.
yeah. So, do you have any questions for me from the video or how I can help you?
Um, I think a little bit on the branding and your YouTube channel. Believe it or not, I actually um, when I kind of got back into this mindset back around 2015, when I was like, that's what I wanted to do. I bought a domain, and this is what I still own the domain, and it's called the non-accredited investor.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and one of the things I always wanted to do was to kind of document my journey. And
Yeah.
when and I'm still thinking about doing that. And when I saw your video, I was like, I mean, it's nothing fancy, right? I mean, it's very
Right.
basic,
It
you know.
is.
Yeah, and then one other thing, obviously we never grew up in this age of social media and all this kind of stuff,
Right.
right? I mean,
Right.
it
Right.
was all face to face, meeting people and that sort of, which I really enjoyed too, anyways.
Yes.
But I definitely see the power of branding in social media, and I'm starting to become more comfortable with that. I mean, I'm I call myself also a recovering introvert, right?
Yes, I am
Um,
too. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, and you'll see from my channel, there's only one or two views on these videos. Actually, it's picked up a little bit from yesterday, but
okay,
so it's not a great big thing. And yeah, I'm very slow on social media too. I think it probably is the age we're at.
yeah,
Because I mean, a telephone was a thing on the wall.
yep,
the rotary thing, and now it's a completely different thing altogether. It's a machine, and this
yeah,
that thing and what have you. So. Yeah, I hear you. And I would encourage you to do that channel because it is picking up momentum. And
hmm,
yeah, I get these interviews from attending the Zooms, I'm saying who I am. And that surprisingly kept my calendar full of these
oh
interviews.
yeah,
So,
okay,
and that's the advantage with that is that it's people who are already interested in real estate, right? So
yeah,
it's a good way of focusing and filtering down and finding people who may want to come along on the journey with you. So you can
right,
create that
okay,
community. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Hey,
okay,
I'd love you to check out my channel. Let me put my YouTube channel in here. You can subscribe and you can unsubscribe if you don't like it, but it might be a good way for us to keep in contact.
yeah, absolutely,
Yeah. If you do like it, comment on the videos, ask some questions. That way we can build up the video library. I'll do videos to answer the question and, we can help each other and draw people in that are interested
right,
in this space where there's plenty of opportunity, to make some serious money with it.
yeah.
No? Yeah.
But yeah, I guess one other question, I guess, when you're obviously raising capital,
Mm.
um, you know when you reach out to people, how do you actually that's sort of where I'm kind of a hang up, not really hang up, but I'm kind of stuck, is how do you approach people and talk to them, to kind of see where their interest is, if
Yeah.
you're looking
It,
for
I'm
a
only
private money partner or
right,
whatever.
right. I'm not going to do the cold call thing. You've got to be very careful because of the
Right.
rules and everything. So I'm building up a channel doing lead magnets to attract people to the YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm all at the moment I'm concentrating just on our community.
Okay.
business community, Gator and Sub2 and things. So anyone who's interested, who say they are or on my YouTube channel, I'll send out an email invitation when I get a deal to do the OM, the offering memorandum.
Mhm.
And then, of course, you could then have an opportunity to take part, throwing in your capital then, and you may
Yep.
come as an LLC. You may join other investors together, much like you did before, and do it that way. So,
Oh, okay.
mm.
And then, so you've got more than 100 doors in multifamily right now, correct? Still?
I did have, I lost those,
Okay.
if you remember,
Okay.
the first time
Okay.
round, and that's why I wrote this book. Cause she
Okay.
I've got all the battle scars. I've made all the mistakes, and that's why I'm passionate about it. Now I've recovered. My wounds have they're mostly healed, shall we say? Still have
Yeah.
trepidation, of course. It's still scary, because you're
Yeah.
playing with big money, right? So,
Yeah.
but life is for living. So I decided to get up and get going, So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, good
Very
questions.
cool.
Yeah. So yeah, check that out. And then if you want to book any other calls with me, I know the time's flown already. Got back-to-back calls today.
Yeah.
Book
Yeah.
another
Early.
call with me. Yeah, if you like. Mm,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much,
Cool.
Michael. Do you have any other burning questions before we depart?
Not right now. I think I'm
Okay.
good. Just kind of introductory type call and
Yes, that's right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Interact with me. I'm on all the social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, the YouTube,
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I've seen your background on some of the other Zooms and things, and I wanted to reach out to you at some point. And this was a good
yeah.
opportunity.
It
So
was, and it's been a real pleasure. Again, thank you, Michael. I appreciate your time.
yeah, thank you as well.
Yeah. Have a wonderful day. All right. Bye bye.